Community was a show that developed a cult following over the course of its runtime, and rightfully so. The brainchild of creator Dan Harmon, before he'd go on to co-create everyone's favorite alcoholic grandfather and grandson duo, Community followed a study group through their time at a community college and the impossibly funny situations they'd get into. Despite the simple premise, the show's clever writing and snappy humor kept you coming back week after week for silly hijinks the gang would get into. This was all kept up pretty seamlessly to the viewers for the first 3 seasons. Despite behind the scenes, things were quickly going awry. Dan Harmon would frequently fight with show producers and routinely argue openly with Chevy Chase, who at the time was arguably the most famous cast member. This all came to a head when Dan Harmon was fired from his own show, but this was short-lived as he was brought back after just 1 season and finished out the series with the 5th and 6th season. The reason?
Kevin, I have Changnesia.
I've never slept with the greater.
Give it here.
I remember when the show was about a community college.
The show was a far cry from the quality it once was when led by Dan Harmon's writing. The characters were awkward, and the lack of vision for the motivations was apparent from the first episode. It felt like a poorly written fanfiction script had somehow ended up on the screen. When Dan returned, the season was quickly written off as the gas leak year, and the only references to the events of the season were to ridicule it and blame the show's departure on a gas leak in the school.
Nothing. You never called.
I'm sorry. That was the year of the gas leak, but I won't use that as an excuse.
A few years ago, I saw this graduation speech given by the comedian Tim Minchin, wherein he says,
"We have a tendency to define ourselves in opposition to stuff. As a comedian, I make my living out of it. But try to also express your passion for things you love. Be demonstrative and generous in your praise of those you admire. Send thank you cards and give standing ovations. Be pro stuff, not just anti-stuff."
I truly took this to heart, as I frequently find myself falling into the camp of mentioning things I hate, like the gas leak year. So in an attempt to fight this mindset, I decided to challenge myself, to find just one thing in the gas leak season of Community that I loved. After several different sessions of trying to get through every episode, the moment I chose that stuck with me the most was Jeff Winger's monologue at the end of the Thanksgiving episode. In a season of constant missteps, and an episode that is trying to recreate something that the writers didn't really understand, this one moment of Jeff being emotionally vulnerable to his father shines through with honesty and stays true to the character that had been built up to this point. In the Community's run, the subject of Jeff's estranged father was a key background plot to his character. His father's absence is clearly something that affected him growing up, and still cuts him to his core whenever he's caught off guard. Over the first 3 seasons, we see him come to the realization that he still has unresolved issues with his father, and even agrees to start seeking help from a therapist in an attempt to come to terms with these emotions. We see over the course of time that Jeff is a deeply insecure person that struggles to maintain a wall around himself to keep everyone in his life at an emotional distance. Even with his closest group of friends, there are only a few times that he shows any kind of emotional honesty, or reveals any kind of deeper part of himself. Narratively, it would make sense that the only person he could be vulnerable in front of would be the person that caused this deep-seated insecurity. The only one who can cut through these walls is his father. Only because of Jeff's inability to shut himself off to the pain his father caused him for his entire life. That's where the beauty of this monologue is for his character development. This is the first time in the show that it makes sense for Jeff to be so emotionally vulnerable. This happens when Jeff's father tells him,
"So I look at you, so self-reliant and well-adjusted, and I think, maybe I did something right."
This hit Jeff so deeply that he storms off, trying to run away from his emotions. But when his half-brother tries to run away with Jeff, asking him to teach him how to be so emotionally distant, Jeff starts a pep talk towards his half-brother that ends with him talking to himself, realizing his father can't keep thinking he did a good thing. He has to know how emotionally scarred he is. This leads us into the monologue, and it is truly heartbreaking. Jeff tells his father that yes, he gets credit for how seemingly cool Jeff turned out, but he also gets credit for how scared he is that even in his late 30s, he is afraid his friends will see how damaged he is and decide to leave him. He gets credit for his self-reliance, but he also gets credit for his self-harm he did in middle school in a shameful bid to get sympathy from others for a fake appendicitis surgery. It's the most we've ever seen Jeff share, and the most honest we've ever seen him be with himself, something that he rarely does when it comes to his emotions. His father backs away from the interaction and tries to fake a heart attack. He refuses to be honest back, and through his actions remind us of another character that Jeff routinely butts heads with. We see in this instant that Jeff has fought and overcome his demons for the first time. He confronted his father and saw him for who he was. Community's gas leak year is not a great season of TV.
Bow before Thoraxis!
It is routinely skipped over by fans on rewatch, and when watching the series, it sticks out like a sore thumb. But I challenge all of you to watch this season again, and try to change your perspective. We all know it's not great, but look for the moments that shine. Try to find a scene that you think would stand toe-to-toe with the rest of the series. I will undoubtedly still critique things I don't like, but I'll also be trying to give the same amount of time to find things that I love in it. Let me know in the comments down below what parts of the gas leak year stand out to you, and if you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. Thank you.